Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. We got a loaded show for you guys today. The Minnesota Vikings, they did actually sign a quarterback, so I'll be giving you guys everything you need to know about him. And then I swear, the Ivan Pace hype train is completely off the rails right now, as we're going to be talking about him starting week 1. And we have some interesting quotes from actually Jordan Hicks, another linebacker on the Vikings, and Brian Flores, his defensive coordinator. They both commented on Pace after the week 2 preseason game versus the Tennessee Titans, which we'll also be giving you guys takeaways on that as well. My name is Patrick Siepman. Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. And before we dive into everything, if you guys just want more Vikings content on your Twitter feed, I need you guys to hit me up. My handle is @PatSieps right there down below. And if you guys give me a follow on today's video, I'll give you guys a follow right back. I'm just trying to kind of grow a Vikings community on Twitter and just get some more love over there. So if you guys haven't already, give me a follow on Twitter. I'll make sure to put that link in the comment section and the description of today's video. Well, let's actually kick it to Jordan Schultz here as he broke the news yesterday saying that the Vikings are signing former XFL Offensive Player of the Year Jordan Ta'amu, and he is obviously signing with the Vikes. And he said he is still just 25 years old. He's 6'3", 214 pounds, and he was a standout at Ole Miss, and now he makes his NFL return. So let's get to know him a little bit. Like Jordan just said, he is 25 years old, 6'3", 214 pounds, and last year he was the XFL Offensive Player of the Year. He actually went second in the XFL draft before the season started, and he was actually started his college career at Michigan. He was batting with Cade McNamara for that starting QB spot, ended up losing it. Then he ended up transferring to Ole Miss, and then he ended up going undrafted back in the 2020 draft. But this is where his career path started. His first year in the NFL, he did start off with the Houston Texans. They were the ones who signed him after he did go undrafted. Then he went to the St. Louis Battlehawks, and he was all over the place. Like, from 2020 to 2022, he was on 8 different teams. He started with the Battlehawks in 2020, then went to the Chiefs, then went to the Lions, then went back to the Chiefs in 2021, then went back to the Lions in that same season, went to the football team also in 2021, then went to the Carolina Panthers, then went back to the Tampa Bay Bandits, and then this past year, he was with the DC Defenders, where he was the XFL Offensive Player of the Year. And guys, listen, I really doubt he makes this team. I think this is just a signing to get another arm in during these practices, during these joint practices. Like, I obviously think if the Vikings do end up bringing 3 quarterbacks, which I think they will end up doing, because obviously the new rule, you can dress 3 quarterbacks on game day. We know it's going to go Kirk, Jaron Hall, and Nick Mullins. No chance the Vikings bring 4 quarterbacks on this group. But, hey, fun little player to bring on your little practice squad team, and just gets more reps and just has another arm to get the ball out to, your receivers. But I doubt he makes the team. Now, coming up here in a second, I'm going to be breaking down if Ivan Pace Jr. will be starting week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just can't believe I'm saying that. Like, if we go back to, where this started with Pace, from him going undrafted and the Vikings signing him as a UDFA, I was ecstatic. And my first thought was, will he make the team? And now that seems no doubt he's making the team. And now with him wearing the green dot the past 2 preseason games, I think it's really starting to look like Ivan Pace could be starting for this football team. But before we get into that, I want to ask you guys, this would be the pinned comment, the main question on today's show. Do you think Ivan Pace Jr. will start week 1 when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roll into U.S. Bank Stadium, 12 p.m. Central Time? Let me know if Ivan Pace will be the starting linebacker for the Vikings. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. So this is what his fellow linebacker Jordan Hicks had to say about Ivan Pace's performance so far. He kind of summed it up dating back to even rookie minicamp and everything. And he just said this. He said, you see it. He's a baller, man. He's natural. Finds the ball. Physical. Elusive. I don't know how we got him. We did a great job getting him. He's going to contribute to this defense. And I like that last line. He's going to contribute to this defense. I think it just kind of locks him in for making this team, no doubt. But this Vikings linebacker room, we needed to add in a stud to this room. I love Brian Asamoah, but incredibly unproven. I love what Jordan Hicks brings as a veteran to this unit, but he did look like he lost a step last season. I think we needed to get younger, faster, and more physical, and Ivan Pace answers all of those questions. He's a fast, strong, he hits hard, he's young, he plays with this sense of swagger that I just find that it just pops through the screen for me, and I think he really does have an outside chance to start week 1. But this is what Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, said about Ivan Pace Jr. He said Ivan's doing a lot of good things in meetings, walkthroughs, and practices, and he played well in the game last week. Our message to him is just to continue stringing good days together. He had the green dot last week, and he did a good job communicating calls out to the defense. That's continued this week. He's fast. He's tough. He plays a physical style. He's doing a lot of good things. And I think that's sweet that Brian Flores is already kind of showing his love and showing his confidence and just showing his trust in a UDFA linebacker. Like, really do think about that. Like, he was a UDFA, and now he's worn the green dot in back-to-back weeks, and he's been getting first-team reps throughout all of practices, and he has handled it so well. But my overall take with this is I do think Jordan Hicks, he will start week 1 for the Vikings at either of the linebacker positions. And then I think the battle is going to come down to Ivan Pace and Brian Asamoah. I've been saying I want it to be Brian Asamoah and Ivan Pace on the field at the same time, but I do think the Vikings' best chance to win week 1 will be a Jordan Hicks. Have a veteran out there just kind of help calm the nerves for the young guys. But I do think the battle is going to be between Ivan Pace and Brian Asamoah to see who starts week 1. And I got to ask you guys, because listen, I'm a fan of both of these players. Like, I love the way both these guys play. They're both super fast, both hit hard, both a little undersized. Like, they're both almost carbon copies of each other. But I want you guys to pick a linebacker. Give me IP for Ivan Pace or give me a BA for Brian Asamoah down in the comment section. Now let's talk about, let's jump into some takeaways from the week 2 game versus the Tennessee Titans, where the Vikings kind of got their ass kicked. The Vikings, they rested 32 of their starters, which we'll get into at the second half or later in this video. But, the Vikings just don't really take preseason too, seriously. It's what Kevin O'Connell's been doing, coming from the Sean McVay tree. We know those guys, love to rest just about everybody during preseason. But the Vikings got their ass kicked. They got their ass kicked on the ground. Their run defense straight up stunk against the Tennessee Titans. And we actually knew this was a problem last year. Like, the Vikings defense as a whole last year was absolutely terrible, especially in the passing game and especially in the run game. I mean, really in every asset, they were flat out terrible. But the Titans, they absolutely ran all over the Vikings. They had 40 carries and ran for 281 yards and had 2 touchdowns. That ends up being around 7 yards per carry. The Vikings just really had no answer. Obviously, the Titans do a really good job of establishing physicality. They get it from their head coach, Mike Vrabel. And obviously, when you're running Malik Willis most of the game, you're going to want to run the football. They had Julius Chestnut. He ran for over 100 yards against the Vikes. Overall, the Vikings just did not look tough at all, especially that backup defensive line unit really, really struggled. Now, number 2 for me is a takeaway I had. I think this wide receiver battle is heating up, mainly at the spots like 4 through 6. Like, I do expect the Vikings to bring only 5 wide receivers on this active roster, but that 4th and 5th wide receiver spot, I think it's up in the air because I think the big 3, the 3 pictures you see on screen right now, no doubt, they are all making the roster. But besides that, I think there's question marks. Let's start off with the Jalens, like Jalen Reagor and Jalen Nailor. Like, I think those guys could potentially make the team. But, obviously there's still questions with, Brandon Powell. Like, he's a great punt returner. N'Keal Harry, who they brought in. They really love Tristan Jackson out of Syracuse, who was on the practice squad all last year and has been making plays. So it's going to be curious to see what wide receivers the Vikings end up going with. And I'll give you guys my 5 here in just a second. But if you guys want to get a wide receiver's jersey, such as a Justin Jefferson, make sure you guys click this link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. We got a great deal going on for you guys. You guys can get Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, Harrison Smith. You guys can even go old-timers like Randy Moss. Like, it doesn't really matter. Whatever jersey you guys want to get, maybe you guys can even find an Ivan Pace jersey down there as well. So make sure you guys hit that link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Click that link. Get yours today. You don't want to be the only Vikings fan in U.S. Bank Stadium not rocking a jersey. So make sure you guys get that jersey today. Click that link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. So my prediction of the 5 that I think are going to make the team, and this was hard. Like, this was really, really hard. And I think maybe they could keep 6, but I'm going to stick to my guns here and say they only keep 5. Big 3, like I said, no doubts. And then I do think 4 and 5 goes to the Jalens. I think it goes to Reagor and Jalen Nailor. And I know Brandon Pohl. Like, he's looked good in the punt return game. And we know Kevin O'Connell had that connection back with him in Los Angeles. So if there was going to be a 6th guy I'll add here, it would be Brandon Pohl. But then again, you got to think about a guy like N'Keal Harry. Like, N'Keal Harry, for some reason, didn't dress, which to me is almost indicating that the Vikings expect him to make the team. So that's going to be something interesting to see. But overall, the whole battle for the last 3 wide receiver spots, something that I'm very going to be looking forward to, especially in this last preseason game. Then I do want to give a shout-out to a special teams demon. Najee Thompson. Like, this is a UDFA who really had absolutely zero chance. Like, heading into training camp, heading into rookie minicamp, heading into whatever, heading into this offseason, he had a 0% chance to make this team. And I actually think he has an outside chance now because of what he did on special teams. He had that sweet play on the punt unit when it was a nice kick by our boy Ryan Wright, and he is just sprinting down there as fast as he can, gets the shoelace tackle, and locks him up. He actually reminds me a lot of Dan Chisena, but Dan Chisena who could actually tackle. And if we look at this cornerback room right now, like, listen, it's a battle. This was the depth chart the Vikings put out before the week this week. So, like, still Booth is there at cornerback too for the Minnesota Vikings. And obviously a Caleb Evans, Tay Gowan, Kalen Barnes, Joejuan Williams, Mekhi Blackman, and now Najee Thompson. Like, this is why it keeps getting back to the point where my man Andrew Booth might get cut. Like, because Byron Murphy's making it. Caleb Evans is making it. That's two. I think Mekhi Blackman, no doubt's making it. I think Joejuan is probably no doubt making it. And that they keep 5. I think it comes down to Andrew Booth and Najee Thompson, where if you had to pick one to, contribute to the team on special teams, you're going Najee Thompson, no doubt. So that's something just really got to keep your eye on if Booth will make this team. I ask you guys, I'm kind of up in the air. Like, I'm 50-50 on this. Heading into the week, I thought, still, no doubt, like, they're not going to cut the former second-round pick from last year's draft. But shit, man, it's looking likely. It's looking like they might. So let me know, will Andrew Booth get cut? Give me a C for cut or give me a K for keep. Number 4, takeaway from the Week 2 game. Overall, just sloppy football from the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, they didn't play too well. Obviously you lose 24-16. You win the turnover battle by actually 2. You're +2 in turnovers, and you still kind of get your ass kicked. Just overall not good ball from the Vikes. This is what actually Kevin O'Connell had to say about the Vikings' mistakes from Week 2 against the Titans. He said, I know a lot of these guys aren't getting a ton of reps, but I would still like to believe we can play clean football and just simply execute the play call without any penalties or mental errors. We've got to continue to work through that with that group that was out there tonight. And I agree. Listen, a bunch of these guys aren't going to be getting reps, Week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it was still sloppy football, and you don't want to see that out of your offensive or out of your second and third string guys. Because, hey, I'll tell you what, my number one takeaway should have been on this is that hopefully the Vikings don't have any injuries because their backup units don't look too good. But speaking about nobody really playing, nobody played for the Vikings Titans game. Like, nobody played at all. It was actually like, listen, I get the Kevin O'Connell, like, his philosophy on all this, and hey, it worked last year with not playing anybody during preseason. But the Vikings rested 32 players yesterday. 32 players the Vikings rested. I thought that number was egregious. Like, they were resting guys like N'Keal Harry. Jalen Reagor had his pads off in the second half. Like even guys like a Caleb Evans getting rest. Like, even like a guy like Jordan Hicks, and like obviously Brian Asamoah dealing with an injury, but he didn't play last week. Like, I get the philosophy, and maybe it's just me being a selfish fan where I want to see these guys out there and see them playing for our purple and gold, or in the purple and gold. But just interesting. Kevin O'Connell didn't play anybody, rested 32 players on Saturday. Guys, you guys made it to the end of the video. I just want to say thank you guys so much. You guys are definitely a real one if you watch this entire video. So if you guys did, I want you guys to give me a skull down in the comment section so I can know who all the real ones are. I want you guys to flood the comment sections with skulls. And I'll make sure to show you guys some love. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, see you guys next time. Skol Vikes.